Hey guys, welcome back to WebDevMentors YouTube channel, and you're watching Python tutorial series for beginners. So in this video we're going to see about taking decisions in Python. At some point of time you have to take a decision in your program. Now for example, you have two conditions. For one of the conditions it has to perform this work, and for the second condition it has to perform some of the work, or if the condition is proved or else its condition is valid, it has to perform something. If it is not valid, then it has to go and perform some other thing. Now if you have already done programming, you might know that there is a statement called as if statement that checks for a condition and then does a work. If it doesn't work that way, if the condition is not satisfied, then it just skips anything that is within that if statement. That's exactly what we're going to do in Python as well. There is an if statement which performs something that you say it to perform if a condition is true. If it is false, then it goes on to find if there is an else statement as well. Else statement is where you define some function or define some statements in which something has to be done if it is false. Now if you don't do the false, the else part, then it just goes on to compile the rest of the code that is not part of the if statement. There's also one more thing called as an else if, where you want to check for another condition if the if statement condition is not true. We'll see that in a clear way in the programming so that you understand it, because I'm not so good in explaining it through the theoretical manner. Let's create a file first. If else elif.py. Now first thing, comment it out, check for if statement. Let's go with the if statement. Now unlike the regular if statements in Java, C, C++, Python is a little bit different when it comes to if statement. What you do is that if space, you go for the condition which is going to be 3 equal to 3, it checks which is going to be true. Now you don't do the brackets in here mostly. You will do that in Java, Java, C, C++, but in Python you don't have to do it. And you need to end the if statement using this call. Come enter, there we go, it's done. The if statement is ready. Now you have to write some statements which has to be performed if that 3 equal to 3 gives you true. Now if it is true, then it's going to come inside and do all those stuffs in here. So I'm just going to print, hey, it's true. Okay, now I can clearly mention you that the tab or the space before your statement is going to be the block which is going to be specified for that particular if statement. So as you already know that the indentation is going to act a very important role in Python. Now if you do this, this is out of if loop. This is where statement is within the if loop. So when you want to come out of the if loop, what you do is that enter twice, always leave a line, backspace, come out of the if statement. Now we are out of the if statement. Let's say print out of if. Now both these print statements has to print. Now let's run it. Python run. Okay, now you can see both. What happens if it's 5, and now only one of the statement has to print, and you should know which one it is. Run it, out of if. Now let's say what happens is that I want to check another condition, or else I want to do something else if it is false. Now that's where else comes in. Oops, this has to come out of the if loop, not within the if loop. And again the tab, in order to make sure that anything that you write is within the else part. So again you have to use this colon, come inside, which if you press enter it has to be like this. That means that you're doing perfectly fine. Now print inside the else. Okay, now 2 of the lines has to be printed. Okay, and when you run it, inside the else, out of if. So now there is another thing that I want to show you, is that if you want to check for another condition, elif space, now you have to specify the condition 3 equal to, no, not equal to, greater than 1. Now this is true, enter, print inside elif. Okay, now when I run, two statements has to be printed in the print. The one is the inside elif, because it is true, 3 is greater than 1, so it has to be printed. Now it should not consider else part because this part is done. So if it is checking for 3 equal to 5, it gives true, then it has to print this, or else it goes to check another condition which is 3 greater than 1, which is true, then it's going to print it and then skip the entire if loop, if else, else if, everything that is going to come after it comes to the print part in here. So this line is going to be executed and then it just directly skips and comes to this line. Let's run it. You can see that inside elif and out of if. So this is how the if statement, elif statement, and else statement works out. So if there is a condition that has to be checked for the if statement, which is going to be the 3 equal to 5, if it is giving true, then it prints this line. That means that anything within that if loop is going to be done. Any statement that is going to be inside the if statement or else the if loop is going to be executed. Now if it gives false, what it does is that any statement within that if loop is going to be skipped. It goes out. Now if it checks if there is an elif, that is the else if statement there or not. Now if there is no else if statement, it checks for the else statement. Now again, if there is no else statement, it just skips everything and goes directly out of the if loop, that is this part, okay, this line, and starts to execute or compile every line after that. Now if there is an else if, it's going to check the condition, which is 3 is greater than 1. It gives true. If it gives true, then it's going to execute every statement within that else if part and go ahead and skip the else part. It's not going to check for anything else and then come out and print or else execute the rest of the lines of the program. Now if it is false, then it's going to go ahead and check if there is any other else if part or else part. It's not going to check for the if part because if is going to be at the top. You cannot repeat if again after the else if. Now it's going to check if there is any other else if or else statement. Now once it finds an else if or else statement, it does the same thing that it does before. And if it finds the else part, it's going to be having only one else in any of the statements. It's going to execute that line within the else block and then come out, print, or execute the statements that is there in the rest of the program. So this is how it works. If you have any issues, please go ahead and try and practice it so that you can understand what if, else if, and else part does in a program. Anyway guys, thank you for watching this video. I know it is a little bit longer because I've explained it in the words rather than doing a lot of program, but this is how it works. You have to implement it in your program all by yourself in order to understand this. Now the most number of symbols that you're using is going to be the operators, which we have seen in the comparison operators. So try to use them, try to experiment with them, practice them, and you will understand. Anyway guys, let's see in the next video. Thank you for watching this video. If you find this video useful, please like the video and also share it with your friends and family. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel. See you in the next video guys.